Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And now you're reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, text 40 to 43. I'll read the first text. Arjuna's offering prayers, in text 35 to 44. Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all-pervading, thus you are everything. Purport. Out of loving ecstasy for Krishna, his friend, Arjuna is offering his respects from all sides. He is accepting that he is the master of all potency and prowess and far superior to all the great warriors assembled on the battlefield. It is said in the Vishnu Purana, whoever comes before you, even if he is a demigod, is created by you, O Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 41 and 42. Think of you as my friend. I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend. Not knowing your glories, please forgive whatever I may have done in the madness or in love. I have dishonored you many, many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. Purport. Although Krishna is manifested before Arjuna in his universal form, Arjuna remembers his friendly relationship with Krishna and is therefore asking pardon and requesting Krishna to excuse him for the many informal gestures which arise out of friendship. He is admitting that formerly he did not know that Krishna could assume such a universal form. Although Krishna explained it as his intimate friend, Arjuna did not know how many times he may have dishonored Krishna by addressing him, O my friend, O Krishna, O Yadava, etc., without acknowledging his opulence. But Krishna is so kind and merciful, in spite of such opulence, he played with Arjuna as a friend. Such is the transcendental loving reciprocation between the devotee and the Lord. The relationship between the living entity and Krishna is fixed eternally. It cannot be forgotten, as we can see from the behavior of Arjuna. Although Arjuna has seen the opulence of the universal form, he cannot forget his friendly relationship with Krishna. Text 43. Pitasi lokasya charasya. Everyone repeat. Pitasi lokasya charasya tvamasya. What's that word? Pujyascha Guru Garyam Aptam Samo Atstiya Dika Kuto Anyo Lokatraye Api Apritima Prabha. Anyway, I'll read it once, then individually, you can read it individually. You don't have to read it with me. But this word, this one word, was scratched out here. What's that? 1, 2, 3. In the second line, third word. What is that word? It's P-U. Is it P-U? Hitashi lokasya charasya tamasya pujascha guru karyam natva samao asti abhyadika kuto anyo lokatraye api apritima prabha bhava. Anyway, someone else can read the verse. Sorry, word for word. Pita, the Father. Asi, you are. Lokasya, of all the world. Sara, moving. Acharasya, and non-moving. Tvam, you are. Asya, of this. Puja, worshipable. Tya, also. Guru, Master. Karyam, glorious. Na, never. Twat, samaha, equal to you. Asti, there is. Vyadi, kaha, greater. Kuta, how is it possible? Arya, other. Loka, Traye, in the three planetary systems. Api, also. Apratima, Babhava, all immeasurable power. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. You are the Father of this complete cosmic manifestation, of the moving and the non-moving. You are its worshipful chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power? Om Argya Tiram Dasya Janandana Slakaya Sakshu Unimitam Zena Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Danti Swa Badantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagantam Sahagana Raganatnam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Salutam Prajna Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Tam Cha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapade, Gopisha Gopikanta, Radha Kantamanostute, Tapta Kanchana Gaurange, Radhe Vrindavan Vishnubhanu Sudai Devi, Priyanmani Hari Priye, Vancha Gopyaturvyascha, Vibha Sindhu Evacha, Patitanam Bhavnevyo, Vaishnevyo, Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Translation once again. You are the Father of this complete cosmic manifestation of moving and of non-moving. You are worshipful chief, supreme spiritual master. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power? Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is worshipable as a father, is worshipable for his son. He is the spiritual master because he originally gave the Vedic instructions to Brahma, and presently also instructing Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Therefore, he is the original spiritual master. And any bona fide spiritual master at the present moment must be a descendant in the line of disciplic succession stemming from Krishna. Without being a representative of Krishna, one cannot become a teacher or spiritual master of transcendental subject matters. So Bhagavad Gita says, Aham Bida Pata Pita. Krishna says, I am the father of all living entities. And here it says that he not only is the father, but he's also the spiritual master. Tadvidi paripatena paripasena sevaya updegyanti jyanas gyanas tapadarshanaha. Krishna says, the fourth chapter, that one must approach the spiritual master, acquire from him submissively, render service unto him. He can impart knowledge unto you because he's seen the truth. So not everybody, anyone and everyone can claim to be a spiritual master. Said the spiritual master is first the qualification of the spiritual master is he has to have control of his senses. This first verse in the Upadeshamrita, Vachavegam Manasakura Vegam. He has to, and he also must know the science of Krishna. This is the bona fide spiritual master. Shotram Brahmanistam. So, it says, without being a representative of Krishna, one cannot become a teacher of spiritual nature, transcendental subject matters. When Prabhupada went to New York, he stayed at the ashram of Dr. Mishra, which was supposed to be a spiritual ashram. But Dr. Mishra was a Mayavadi. So after Prabhupada gave 2 lectures there, then Dr. Mishra wouldn't let him speak anymore because he didn't agree with his philosophy. But Srila Prabhupada didn't stay there. He moved to another place. Finally, he went to 2nd Avenue and started his mission, started his Krishna conscious movement. So we know that Srila Prabhupada was the representative of Krishna. It says that we sing in the morning a prayer that the spiritual master should be worshipped and honored as much as Krishna. So the spiritual master, he's the worshipper of Krishna, and Krishna is the worshipable. Spiritual master is the worshipper guru, and Krishna is the worshipable person. So there are four sampradayas, bona fide sampradayas, one coming from Lord Brahma, which we are in, one coming from Lord Shiva, one coming from Lakshmi, one coming from the four Kumaras. Now these sampradayas, they have philosophies, they may differ a little bit in their philosophies, but they all agree at one point that Krishna is the Supreme Personality Godhead. There's no argument about that. Krishna is true Bhagavan Swayam. So the idea that God cannot be a person in the Muslim religion, in the Jewish religions, the so-called Kaitava Dharma, these cheating religions in this age, they're 10th class religions, they cannot accept the fact that God can be a person. If you try to speak to these fanatical people, they don't want to hear this, that God can be a person. But it says in the Bible, the man is created in the image of God. So if we have a form and we're a person, then it's logical. How can the Supreme Creator and the the Supreme of all Supreme not be a person? But still, because they're covered by the modes of material nature and engaged in sinful activities, they can't understand the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that he reserves the right to be known. You know, when Krishna went to Mathura, Krishna never takes one step out of Vrindavan, but Akura came on the order of Kamsa to take Krishna out of Vrindavan. So that seems to be a contradiction. But the original Krishna, Nandan Krishna, he remained in Vrindavan, and his Vasudeva expansion goes to Mathura, to Dwarka. Krishna's birthplace is in Mathura. So how is it Krishna never leaves Vrindavan? How is he born in Mathura? This is also a mystery. But in the 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam purport, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Krishna simultaneously was born to Devaki in Mathura and Yasoda in Vrindavan. And when Vasudeva brought the original Krishna to Vrindavan, the Vasudeva Krishna merged into the Nandananda Krishna, the two-handed Krishna. So Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, but his expansion goes to Mathura and Dwarka. And also, Krishna doesn't kill demons, but his multi-furious energies are involved in killing the demons. So from the very beginning, Krishna takes birth in Mathura. He showed his form. First he took birth in his form as four-handed Vishnu. And then Devaki and Vasudeva, they were fearful because Kamsa had killed their children, that Kamsa would come to kill this child too. So Krishna assumed the form of an ordinary child, and then by the potency of Yoga Maya, all the shackled, they were in chains, shackled in chains, and imprisoned, so all the doorkeepers and guards fell asleep, and the doors opened, and Vasudeva was able to take baby Krishna, or Vasudeva Krishna, to Vrindavan, and exchange the Vasudeva Krishna with the Yoga Maya. The mother Yasoda had given birth to a Yoga Maya, or Subhadra, but she was fast asleep and she couldn't remember whether she gave birth to a boy or a girl. and none of the other family members were there for some reason. But anyway, this is how Krishna comes to Vrindavan and enjoys his pastimes in Vrindavan. So this is the substance of the Brahma Sutra, the Brahma, or the Srimad Bhagavatam, is that to delineate the fact that Krishna is Tu Bhagavan Saram. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam prepare us so we can hear the 10th canto and hear about the activities and pastimes of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada was, when he went to America, he thought it best, like Krishnadas Kaviraj did the same thing. He summarized the Chaitanya Charitamrita before he wrote the whole thing. So Prabhupada knew that the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam was the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So he wrote the Krishna book, which is a summary study of the 10th canto. He wrote that first because he knew didn't know how much time he had to translate the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. And so he translated the first 9 cantos and then the 10th canto up to the 13th chapter. So the Krishna book, Supreme Personality of Godhead, this is the essence of our Vaishnava philosophy, substantiating that Krishna is a person. He's not some void or some energy or some light like the other philosophies, other religions want to tell us. Like in Jaiva Dharma, the Muslims and the Vaishnavas had a conversation, and the Muslims say God is Naraka, he doesn't have a form. And he said that deity worship is product of the, they say that devil worship, product of the devil. And that's why Aurangzeb was so cruel. He went all over Braj and all over UP and India, breaking the deities, and because they didn't believe that God can have a form. But we know that if one thinks that the deity is made of stone or wood, this is a hellish mentality. And we know that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the example of Shakshi Gop, the witness deity, the Brahmin boy came to the deity and said, you have to bear witness because the people don't believe that this man, the old Brahmin, promised to give his daughter in marriage to me. But the deity said, well, how can I do that? I can't walk. But the Brahmin boy said, if you can talk, you can walk. So the deity agreed to walk all the way from Vrindavan to Vijayanagar in South India, the witness deity. So the deity form is worshipable, and according to one's devotion, we worship the deity. But the Lord comes and enters that form, Pranapatista, at the time of installation, and therefore we should not think that the form is material. It is spiritual energy is there, and that energy can be there or not be there. If the deity breaks, and we know that certain mishaps. There was an earthquake in New Zealand where the Gornitai deities were broken. But that doesn't mean that God is broken. It means that withdrew his energy. So the deity form is like the post box, and post office has so many post boxes. So if you put your mail in the authorized post box, then you know it will get delivered. But if you put it in any box, it won't get delivered. So Krishna comes and for our mundane senses and mundane eyes, he comes by his mercy as the Archa Vigraha, so that we can worship him in his deity form. And Srila Prabhupada, from the very beginning of the movement, established the deities of Radha and Krishna, Jagannath, Subhadra, Baladev, all over the world. Even before devotees were experienced in Australia, they were having this initiation ceremony to give Brahman initiation. They asked one lady to make Brahman thread, and she said, "What's that?" And then she said, "Should I make one for myself?" I said, "No, that's not for ladies, only for men." So they didn't even know what Brahman initiation was, but Prabhupada wanted to install the deities and wanted only the second initiated people to worship the deities. And generally, he made it a standard that there had to be 10 Brahmins in the temple before he would install the deities of Radha and Krishna. And that is our standard. It's only unless one has second Brahma initiation can he touch the fire or go on the altar or do the puja, do the worship. So we have no doubt.
And then he said to the Lord, "I'm sorry, I'm leaving you with such inexperienced devotees. Please accept their service."
Yes. So, Srila Prabhupada never says Shunyavadi. He came to dispel this voidist philosophy and impersonal philosophy, give us this personal philosophy and tradition that God is a person. Because here it says that no one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. So sometimes we hear stories in the Bhagavatam where some devotees pray to God to have Krishna come as their son, but Krishna's or someone like Krishna to come as their son. But Vishnu says there's no such person, so I'll come as your son. This was the case in Lord Vamadev. He came as the Brahma incarnation. So it's last snare of Maya is people to come to the conclusion that I'm God. So this Krishna is showing his universal form. For Arjuna asked Krishna to show this universal form so that in the future people who were claiming to be God have to prove it by showing their universal form. And of course, naturally, they can't do it, so we don't accept them as God. So there are many cheaters who can perform some magic and cheat people into believing that they're God, but we don't accept these things. So here it says, without being a representative of Krishna, one cannot become a teacher or spiritual master of trying to know subject matters. So, the bona fide spiritual master has to examine the disciple. Generally, it says for 1 year, the disciple should examine the spiritual master, and the spiritual master should examine the disciple. In this way, they can understand their position. In case of Narottam Das Thakur, he came to Vrindavan and was instructed to take initiation from Lokanath Das Goswami. But Lokanath Das Goswami had made a vow never to take any disciples. So Narottam Das served Lokanath Das Goswami for 1 year. Even when Lokanath Das Goswami would go in the field to answer the call of nature, Narottam would come there and clean the place. So Lokanath noticed that every day the place was clean, so he was wondering how this was possible. So one day he hid in the bushes after he finished, and he saw that Narottam Das was cleaning the place. So then he agreed to accept him as his disciple. So there's the Kanistha Adhikari, there's the Madhyama Adhikari, and there's Uttama Adhikari. So it's best to take initiation from an Uttama Adhikari. But the Kanistha Adhikari and the Madhyama Adhikari, they can also give initiation, but they may not be able to give sufficient guidance. This is stated in the Nectar Instruction. But the Uttama Adhikari, he's well versed in the Shastra. He can guide the soul back to the spiritual master. It's his duty to take his disciples back home, back to Godhead. They asked Srila Prabhupada if he had to come back to take his disciples back to Godhead. He said, yes, but don't make me come back. So, but he also said, as long as one doesn't break the contract, in other words, the time of initiation from the spiritual master, we agree to chant 16 rounds every day and follow the 4 regulated principles. No meeting, no gambling, no intoxication, and no illicit sex. But if we don't follow these principles, then the contract is broken. So Prabhupada said, I'll come back, take the disciple back to Godhead, as long as you don't break the contract. But don't expect me to keep coming back if you can't follow these things. So therefore, it was very easy to become a disciple of Srila Prabhupada because we didn't have to choose a spiritual master. We just came to the movement, and after 6 months, the rule was you accept first initiation, and then if you followed strictly for 1 year after that, you were given second initiation. And then, of course, sometimes the family members of the devotees were not happy to see their children becoming devotees. And even though devotees were becoming bright-faced and clean and gave up all their bad habits, the parents are still unhappy. They said, you know, my son used to be a drug addict and a woman hunter, now look at you. You don't take drugs, you don't chase women. What's wrong with you? Why can't you come home and be normal? But so, you know, they say, who's crazy? They say we're crazy, but we say they're crazy because they do all nonsense and we don't do these things. So this Prabhupada could have had millions of disciples, and many gurus have millions of disciples, but they don't follow any principles. So Prabhupada was very strict. Even when the person wanted to be initiated, and Prabhupada asked him, are you chanting 16 rounds? And he said no. So Prabhupada said, sorry, I can't initiate you. So Prabhupada first wanted everyone to chant 64 rounds, because that was the standard in the Gaudiya Math. Anybody living in the Math was instructed by Bhaktisiddhanta to chant 64 rounds every day. But the devotees tried and they said, no, we can't do that. And then Prabhupada said 32 rounds. And then they said, no, we can't do that either. Then Prabhupada did 16 rounds. And he said, no less, 16 rounds. You must chant 16 rounds every day. And when they were working on the temple in LA and getting it ready for Prabhupada's arrival, the devotees were only sleeping 4 hours. So when Prabhupada got there, he asked the devotees, are you chanting 16 rounds? And some of them said, no, because we're working so much. And Prabhupada said, then you sleep less. And that's also, Bhaktisiddhanta disciples said, we can't chant 64 rounds because you give us so much other service to do also. But he also said the same thing, then sleep less. So one must complete 16 rounds every day, Maha Mantra. And if you can't complete your rounds for some reason, then the next day, before you eat or sleep, then you must make up those rounds that you missed and chant 16 rounds again. Of course, in Vrindavan it's easy to chant because it's a spiritual atmosphere. Everybody, everything is related to Krishna here, pretty much. But in the West, it may be more difficult to chant because of the influence of the mode of passion and ignorance. Anyway, we'll read the next paragraph. The Lord is being paid obeisances in all respect. He is immeasurable greatness. No one can be greater than the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna, because no one is equal or higher than Krishna within any manifestation, spiritual or material. Everyone is below him. No one can excel him. This is stated in this Svetasvatara Upanishad. Natachas karyam karmanam chad vidyate natad samas chabyad ikas cha drishyate. Supreme Lord Krishna has senses and a body like ordinary man, but for him there's no difference between his senses, his body, his mind, and himself. Foolish persons who do not perfectly know him say that Krishna is different from his soul, mind, heart, and everything else. Krishna is absolute, therefore his activities and potencies are supreme. It's also stated that although he does not have senses like ours, he can perform all sensory activities. Therefore, his senses are neither imperfect nor limited. No one can be greater than him, no one can be equal to him, and everyone is lower than him. So Brahma Samhita says, Agni yasya sakalendri riti manti pashanti anti chiran jaganti. Ananda Shinmaya Saruja Vigrahasha Govindam Aripushita Mahabhajami. I worship Govinda, the primal Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself full-fledged function of all the organs, and internally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universe, both spiritual and mundane. So this substantiates the fact that Krishna has senses, but with each of the limbs of his senses, he can perform the functions of all the other limbs. So here it says that he does not have senses like ours. He can perform all sensory activities, therefore his senses are neither imperfect or limited. So we cook every day for Krishna, and we make offerings, and then it's considered prasadam, or the mercy of the Lord. So how is that? If we bring the plate in, we take the plate off, everything's still there. But because Krishna can eat with his eyes, he can eat with his ears, so he can do anything with his different senses. So if we try to eat with our ears, we can't do that. Just like if you have to water the root of the tree to nourish the tree. If you water the leaves or the branches, then it won't get nourished. In the same way, so Krishna can fulfill all the functions of his body are spiritual. So he is neither imperfect nor limited. So this is the definition of God. No one is equal to or greater than him. Some people may ask the question, who created God? Or can you show me God? One time they asked Prabhupada, one reporter asked Prabhupada, can you show me God? So Prabhupada pointed to a picture and said, this is God. And he said, if that was a picture of you, wouldn't that be you? And he had to agree. So, of course, we don't what God looks like, but by hearing from Krishna's bona fide representative, Prabhupada, taught the devotees about Krishna, what Krishna looked like, what his form, name, pastimes, everything is there. So Krishna agrees to accept his different forms in his deity worship. So this foolish persons who do not perfectly know him say that Krishna is different from his soul, mind, heart, and everything else. So the mundane people, they think Krishna is an ordinary person. When Krishna went to Mathura, the first person he met was a washerman. And he said to the washerman, you gave us some new cloth. And Krishna, the cowboys, he wanted some cloth. The washerman was not a devotee, so he didn't recognize Krishna. So he said, you boys, you are impudent boys. These are the king's clothes, Kamsa. If I tell Kamsa will become angry if I give you any cloth. So Krishna became angry with this washerman, and just with his hand, he cut off his head. And then the cowboys took all the cloth. So Krishna can't do that. And we know Pujana came when Krishna was just a small baby, and she disguised demon or rakshashis. They have the power to change their forms. So Kamsa sent Putana, the first demoness, to kill Krishna. And her business was killing babies. So she put poison on her breast to with the attempt to kill Krishna, baby Krishna. But she assumed the form of a beautiful lady. So when everyone saw this demon, Pujana, no one hindered her from going in to the Krishna and taking Krishna on her lap, because she was so beautiful. Even all the men in Braj were attracted to her. But of course Krishna knew her plan, and not only did he suck her breast, but he sucked out her life air. But he made sure that she didn't die in the room, because after she died, she assumed her original form, which was 12 miles long, like from here to Mathura, and that way she would have broken all the houses in Braj and caused so many people to die. So Pujana, some places said Krishna threw her into the forest. Some places it says that she ran out of the house screaming, "Child, leave me, leave me!" And then she died in the forest and assumed her Rakshashi form as a demoness. So in this way, Krishna, from the very beginning of his childhood, displayed his opulence and displayed his power. And then so many demons were sent by Kamsa. Trinavarta, the demon, came as the whirlwind. He took Krishna in the sky, 80,000 miles in the sky. And Krishna was holding onto his neck and choked him and killed the demon in the sky. And then he fell down to the ground and all his limbs were broken. But baby Krishna was unharmed. So in this way, Krishna killed so many demons with by his multifarious energies, but he never was harmed in any way. So this is not the activity of an ordinary baby, an ordinary child. And Krishna performed so many wonderful activities which we can hear about by reading the 10th canto, reading the Krishna book. So the final paragraph. The knowledge, strength, and activities of Supreme Personality God are all transcendental, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Janma karma chame devyam evam yo veti tatataha chakdatayam vyan punarjanma natamam eti so arjuna. Whoever knows Krishna's transcendental body, activities, and perfection, after quitting his body, returns to him, does not come back again to this material world. Therefore, one should know that Krishna's activities are different from others. The best policy is to follow the principles of Krishna. That will make one perfect. It is also stated that There is no one who is master of Krishna. Everyone is his servant. Chaitanya Charitamrita confirms this. Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ara Sajya Bricha. Only Krishna is God, everyone else is his servant. Everyone is complying with his order. There is no one who can deny his order. Everyone is acting according to his directions, being under his superintendence. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, he is the cause of all causes. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Nanda Adi Govindam Sarvakara Karanam. Krishna is the cause of all causes. So, when the living entity in the spiritual world, he acts under the influence of Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya is the pleasure potency of the Lord, and she arranges for Krishna's different pastimes, so that Mother Yasoda thinks that Krishna is her child. She always worried about his welfare. This is the influence of Yoga Maya. And in this way, no, they don't know. The residents of Raj, this is the highest realm. There's Devi Dham, and then there's Mahesh Dham, then there's Vishnu Loka, and then there's Golok Vrindavan. So this Haridham is the Vaikuntha world. So the material world is 1/4 of the creation, and the spiritual world is 3/4 of the creation. And those who are worship Krishna, worship God in Aishvarya Bhav, it means the opulence, in the form of opulence and awe and veneration, they go to the Vaikuntha. When Krishna met the inhabitants of Vrindavan and Kurukshetra, Radharani and the gopis, they weren't pleased to see Krishna as the king with so much opulence. They wanted him to come back to Vrindavan and as the simple cowherd boy. So there's a material world, the controlling principle in the material world is Mahamaya. She's in the form of Durga. She keeps everyone bound up in the material world. So when one becomes a devotee of Krishna, we're declaring war on Maya, or the illusory potency. So if one is sincere about serving Krishna, then this Maya, Yoga Maya, will help one serve Krishna. But if one wants to disturb Krishna, then she'll keep you bound up in the material world. So by following Vaidhi Bhakti, this process of Krishna consciousness, it keeps us free from the contamination of the material world. So that's why we have to follow strictly, rise early in the morning, or before 4 o'clock, come to Mangal Arati, chant 16 rounds of japa, chant, attend the Guru Puja, attend the class. All these things are there to keep us on the spiritual platform, so we won't again be influenced by Mahamaya and leave the Krishna conscious movement. So this is very must be understood that the Mahamaya, Daiviyesha Gunamaya Mamamaya Duravyaya, says this energy of the Lord is very difficult to overcome. We see that many devotees come and left the movement for some time, or because of being overpowered by the material energy. But Krishna says, if one surrenders unto me, they can easily cross beyond it. So this is the last instruction, Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharma Prikshita, Mamekam Saranam Raja, Ham Tvam Sarvapadmyo, Mokshishami Masuchaha. Krishna says, do not fear, just surrender everything unto me. So if we surrender to Krishna, if we're a surrendered soul, then we can remain in Krishna consciousness and progress, develop our love for Krishna. This is wanted. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Ekala Ishvara Krishna Ara Sabja Bricha. That Krishna is the controller, everyone else is made to dance by Krishna's influence. So, although when the living entity comes in the material world, due to the influence of Ahankara, we're given a false ego. It says in the 5th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, by the arrangement of the Nanta Sage, one is given the false ego. One thinks that I am the doer, I am this body, Ahankara, or I, me, mine, everything belongs to me, is mine. This is due to the false ego. But our true identity is to be eternal servants of Krishna. This is our real identity, and the Krishna God movement is meant to awaken our Krishna consciousness. There's Sambandhan Gyan, Parojana, what's the word? Sambandhan, Abhideya, and Parojana. So first we have to establish our relationship with Krishna, and this is represented by the Madan Mohan Didi in Vrindavan. And then the Abhideya means learning how to perform devotional service, and this is represented by Govindaji. And Abhideya is the complete perfection, and this is represented by Gopinath. For those who are visiting Vrindavan, should go and visit the 7 main temples, especially Madan Mohan, Govindaji, and Gopinath, and pray for their mercy so we can understand these different levels, these different phases of devotional service. Sambandha, Abhideya, and Parojana. So one should never not think that we can be independent of Krishna. We're always under his order, under his control. No one, even the biggest people in the world, everyone the 4 problems are there in the world for everyone: birth, death, disease, and old age. So, no matter how big a man may be, no matter how rich a man may be, beautiful or whatever, still they have to get old, they have to die. So these are the real problems of life. So the Krishna consciousness movement is meant to put an end. Here it says, Janma karma chame divyam. This verse, Prabhupada quoted this many times, considers one of the most important verses in Bhagavad Gita, because it says, whoever knows Krishna in truth, then he does not have to take birth again in this material world. Tatpataha. This means in truth. So that means we understand Krishna in spiritual form, spiritual qualities, spiritual attributes, name, form, qualities, pastimes, and understand these are non-different than Krishna, and therefore everything we do should be in relation to Krishna, so that at the end of our lives we can think of Krishna and go back to Godhead. So the time is up. Any comments or questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna. There's a contradiction between coming to Vrindavan for purification and seeing all this filth and garbage in the street. So my question is, what can we do, or what should we do as devotees to change this, that the Dham becomes nice and pure also?
No. See, Brahmanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena. You have to have the eyes tinged with the salve of love to see Vrindavan. See this Podamaya, there's this illusory energy covering her eyes. So you're not seeing Vrindavan. If you read Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Gop Kumar, he went to Golok Vrindavan, and he came back to Gokul Vrindavan, which is this Vrindavan, but he didn't see any difference between the two. So what you're seeing, you're not seeing the real Vrindavan. Vrindavan means every word is a song, every step is a dance, people are always joyful, no one speaks anything unpleasant. This is real Vrindavan. So you're not seeing the real Vrindavan. But we're in the vicinity of Vrindavan. By coming here, we get purified. So those from the West who are preaching in the West, Prabhupada wanted the devotees to come to Mayapur and Vrindavan to recharge their batteries, get spiritually recharged so they can go back to the West and preach Krishna consciousness. So this, we should understand that we're in Vrindavan, but we're not seeing the real Vrindavan. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I know this answer on this question, but it's also, I mean, does the Dham have to be polluted?
No, I just told you, it's not polluted. You're not seeing the Dham. You're only seeing the external manifestation. The real Dham, the spiritual world, it can never be polluted. It's not influenced by, there's no modes in nature. In Gokul, there's no modes, 3 modes in nature are not there.
Sorry, I'm not yet satisfied with this answer.
Alright, she wants to make a comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to make this last point. That when we come to the Dham, we also support polluting the Dham when we use the facilities here, because we pass our through the Yamuna, for example, or we cannot separate our garbage because there is no separation. So are we going to commit offenses against the Dham with this?
No, we try to avoid as much as possible. We have to be practical though. I don't think we have to worry about this so much. Because if you're worried about offending the Dham, you can do the program on a Ekadasi or any day to get free from offenses to the Dham. But these things, we don't worry about these things so much. It's not our main concern. Coming to the Dham, we should visit all the holy places, see the deities, see the, read the books of the Goswamis, read Prabhupada's books, perform devotional activities. This is our main function. This is not something we should be so concerned about. We can't change things automatically. Well, we can be first class, set a good example for the other people in Vrindavan, to see that we are following strictly and we're not ordinary people.
So there's also such a thing as Dham Seva. So periodically we have groups who go out and clean certain sections of Vrindavan. And recently they passed a law here because of the devotees' insistence, because of all the amazing garbage of the plastic bags. So they passed a law saying that they should not use plastic bags. So if the devotees are persistent in setting a good example, as Prabhu mentioned, then actually that can re-educate the mentality of those who are here and those who come from outside, who are doing all the nonsense, basically speaking. I also want to, if you don't mind, yesterday we ended up with a discussion, an unresolved discussion about free will. And I just wanted to mention that the very last paragraph for the devotees sitting over there, especially the very last paragraph of Prabhupada's purport in the very last verse, it gives a lot of light on the idea of what to do about the question of free will. And Prabhupada says, the living entity in his original position is pure spirit. He is just like an atomic particle of the Supreme Spirit. Thus, Lord Krishna may be compared to the sun, and the living entity is to sunshine. Because the living entities are the marginal energy of Krishna, they have a tendency to be in contact either with the material energy or with the spiritual energy. In other words, the living entity is situated between the two energies of the Lord. And because he belongs to the superior energy of the Lord, he has a particle of independence. By proper use of that independence, he comes under the direct order of Krishna. Thus he attains his normal condition in the pleasure-giving potency. For me, that resolves the question of free will. I don't know about anybody else.
Anybody else have a question? And thank you all for coming. All those on Radio Land. Hare Krishna. Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Tomorrow is a boat festival down there, I think at HG.Ghat, right? In the Jamuna. So I think it's very awkward to have a Bhagavad Gita class, although there may be some people who don't go, but we're not going to have Bhagavad Gita class tomorrow because probably everybody will be down there at the HG.Ghat, especially the speaker.
I hope it doesn't rain. Hope it doesn't rain. It's raining. Is it raining now? It's raining, right? It's raining, right? Raining. Yeah. Raining.
The record I asked Maharaj if Prithvi Prabhu was right. Of course he's right. I didn't know who that was. I didn't know who that was.
Can I ask you one question?
What's that?
So I asked Maharaj.
My English is very poor, I'm sorry. Maybe you can understand me. You mentioned about Subhadra. She was initially the daughter of Yashoda Maya, and after